big shit popping.
Little shit stopping?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Is that how it works?
I would prefer the combination. I really wouldn't want to do one without the other.
Yeah, because if little shit was still going on, that would be
Right.
Yeah, that would be whack. You definitely have to have...
like,
You have to watch where you step. All the door frames are little. You know what I mean? I'd rather just I want to walk free.
Big shit is popping. Who cares about the little shit?
Exactly.
You know?
That's kind of how it goes.
I don't know, man. Little
so
shit.
I guess when you stop caring about the little shit, it stops. Huh?
Little shit popping is like Legos in the carpet.
Little
you know
shit
what I mean?
can't
It
pop.
doesn't
Can it?
matter until it's on your heel. You know what I mean?
That's
and then it's like, and then it's there, and it's instant. You get over it quick, but for that instant, it does kind of suck. You know what I mean? So you definitely have to eliminate the little shit pop.
I feel like
because you step on one Lego, you're vacuuming the whole fucking living room.
Right.
No, I'm throwing away all the Legos.
Thank you.
Step on one Lego.
He
no
said
more
it's a
Legos.
wrap on the Legos.
The worst
Y'all
place
bitches
is like
are
the
using
arch.
Lincoln Logs from here on out.
Step on the arch of your foot, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Fat ass Legos, man. Fuck Legos on the floor, man.
I'm telling you, bitches will cause
I never had Legos.
joint
Why
problems.
they have to make them like so sharp, like they perfectly squared rectangle, like?
Well, you gotta
Like
understand.
that point is
You gotta-
fucking sharp. They can round the edges, my nigga.
Absolutely.
Like, fucking sandpaper that shit a little bit.
Hey,
Buffer
listen,
it,
man,
something.
we are building skyscrapers, all right? I want my structures rigid, okay? And on top of that, Legos came from a time period where so were the cars. Like, them bitches were metal death boxes. You know what I mean? Yeah. You look at the early models of the Mustang, that shit is, yeah, that is a tin can, bro.
Have you ever watched Lego Masters?
No.
No, that show is dope. They're like professional Lego builders,
Right.
and they build some dope ass shit. It's like a challenge show, but I fuck with those kind of Legos. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it should be left to professionals, but I guess you got to start early to get the passion for it.
Legos should be left to professionals. Let's be
Yeah,
real.
like leave it to the engineers and shit.
I
Like,
was,
Right.
I was like kind of fucking with Lego. You just threw my whole Lego dreams.
Listen, bro, if you haven't been hip deep in some Lego love, then you're kind of late. You kind of need to start, you know what I'm saying, investing.
I was scarred as a child from people knocking down my Lego structures, and scarred as
So
a
this is
parent
stemmed from personal
stepping on
roots.
Legos. So.
Right. This is a subconscious
It's a personal thing. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it is. And you know what? I just want to say,
projecting.
don't project. Exactly. You can't project your personal hatred. This is how supervillains are born, Factor. All right? Let it go. Don't harbor this, okay? Because next time I see you with your hair dyed, I'm going to start crossing little some things off the list. You know what I'm saying? You've already wore flashy outfits. You're starting to become a supervillain. I'm worried about you.
Should I wasn't thinking about dyeing my hair again.
No?
No, I was thinking about it. I want to. I just
Throw
need to
a pink on
spend the
there,
time
and I'm
to
not.
get the dye.
I'm not even like throwing shade or being sarcastic at all.
Pink?
I think like hot pink. I think that would be fire.
I could see you with hot pink, like some like Izzy, like Adesanya shit.
Yes, flex. Exactly.
I could probably fuck with it. We'll see. I probably won't go pink.
He did it for a day,
the next,
but it
next
still
time,
looked good on
but,
him. Well, I think he lost a bet. Actually, yeah. They were talking about that on the interview with Paulo before their fight. He had pink hair, and they were like, "Why do you have pink hair?" And yeah, I guess he lost a bet in his camp, but it still looked good on him, man. I mean, like any person, if you got a certain skin tone, you can rock neon everything.
You saw why he took it off for the Paolo fight, right? Because he was saying that Paolo can't see very good. He wears glasses, so his hair he wouldn't be able to know where he was better.
That's smart.
So
Oh wow.
Yeah, the motherfucker's a genius.
Yeah, that is
his
actually
dad
really
told him
smart.
to do it. So his dad's a genius.
Right. He's like, you're a walking target. Yeah. Your head movement accounts for a little bit less when he can see you in the dark. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
The next day I saw freaking Paulo Costa with some glasses on. I was like, oh, there it is.
That makes all word. Yeah, 100%. And it's funny, man. He put him in the dirt. Like you haven't seen Paulo
At all.
other than the videos of him talking about how disgraced he feels about getting humped.
Right.
But other than that, Paulo has been in the Batcave, bro. That almost kind of makes me worried because he was a 10-0 monster before he stepped in the ring.
Dana said that he's been begging for what's his face now, Robert Whitaker. Now that Adesanya fled.
I think that would be a great option because on stand-up wise, Robert Whittaker's movement is way better than Paolo's.
Yeah.
For sure. His head movement, his footwork, the way he's able to connect combos.
It's almost just like a not as good Adesanya.
Yeah. I mean, from what we've seen. Yeah, I mean, from what we've seen, man. You know, Whittaker held
in the stand-up.
Yeah, 100%. Well, he beat him off. He literally beat him in the flurry. Like they were in an exchange. Yeah, they were in an exchange, and he caught him twice off counter punches in that exchange before Whittaker was able to put his hands down. Like that was a pretty crazy exchange, man.
That's where you see that reach advantage really come into play.
100%, and that's why I'm excited about Blachowicz, because Blachowicz has quite a reach. Yeah. And if Blachowicz lands, oh my God, it's a completely different situation. And Blachowicz is going to have the precision that we wanted and the aggression that we wanted from Paolo. Because Paolo threw like a couple front kicks and that was it.
Fucking wrecked him, huh?
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Factor does not fucking watch any MMA whatsoever. And we're trying to get him in it, and I was like, don't bring Sincerely on, because Sincerely's a fan, and that unlocks a whole other door for me.
I don't watch anime or UFC.
Yeah, right.
MMA?
MMA.
I thought you said anime. I was like,
mixed martial arts.
I was like, how did we get to anime? I thought you guys were talking about UFC.
He said, nah, man.
Some of these names seem recognizable. I mean, I know people that like
said,
anime.
Nah, man, we're talking about Baki
like
this whole time. This was Baki this whole time.
I'm sitting here,
man. Adesanya is the last Stylebender.
Right, 100%. It all ties. It's circular. It all comes back in.
Great.
So we won't wait too long to go ahead and bring in the intro.
Yeah, it's a little different.
And do it now since we got a very special guest in the building, obviously, from the first conversation.
I'm getting pretty.
Yeah. This man is
don't mind the primping on the sideline.
So if you didn't know what you were watching or listening to right now, I go by the A-Factor. I am 1/4 of the Odd Squad family.
That is correct. And I go by intellect. I'm 1/3 of New Age politics.
And what you are watching, what you are listening to, what you are experiencing right now is known as the A
is for
a podcast.
Yes, sir.
Lovely people. Lovely beings, beautiful beings. I think I'm gonna do
human
that
horses. Are you gonna do the whole suite?
Celestial beings.
Beautiful beings.
Celestial beings. Yeah, 100%.
So shout out to all the beautiful beings out there listening on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you give us a 5-star and write a review. Give us 4 stars. You may or may not be a hater, but that's okay. We love you too.
If you carbon-based and happy-faced,
you already
we're glad that you're here.
What we're doing with this. Also, if you're watching on the YouTube, you know what we need right now. Go ahead and give us some big thumb energy. Go ahead and click them thumbs. Make sure you subscribe.
We need that big thumb energy.
To the channel, of course, because a lot of people are watching but not subscribing, which is weird. But
and we've been seeing a lot more BTE coming from our community. Can I just say?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Hella BTE. Yeah.
I'm very proud of everybody stepping up. We're seeing a lot more engagement from our fan base, which is wonderful. Check the comments. If you comment on any podcast clip or full episode, we're there. We talk to you. We say what's up. So throw an opinion in there, throw a perspective, and we're going to throw one back.
Yes. And we love you guys. We appreciate you. Make sure you love yourself. And what's funny about the first conversation is you guys were talking about the last Stylebender.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. But first, before we get back into that, I don't know if you guys are aware to the people, but we have a very special guest right now.
Right.
Sincerely Collins, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, guys.
A lot of beautiful things
There's some
on the horizon.
We need a soundboard.
We definitely need a soundboard.
We don't take this shit to the next level. I seen somebody say we need another microphone for sure.
Okay.
We're working on these things. We're gonna build out this podcast, but the soundboard would be dope because we can have this round of applause.
Absolutely.
For moments like that. But
in the comments, throw what you would like to see in the account, and we're gonna put it through.
You know, it'd be really dope.
What?
If you were just like round of applause, and you just like push the button on your arm or something, and then the
on your lapel. You know what I mean?
I need an applause button. We have a no button.
That's true.
We don't have a applause button. We
He's
should
like, I'm not
definitely.
gonna clap button right now for you.
That's more appropriate. Okay.
It says like 7 forms of no, so
100%.
that would be dope to have a applause button. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful beings out there, carbon-based,
And happy face.
happy-faced people, we have Sincerely Collins. Are aliens carbon-based?
Ooh, that is a phenomenal question.
Some of them are.
Yeah, I think it's kind of based on the environment.
We are the aliens.
We have we were talking about that.
We are the aliens.
We are the aliens.
So some aliens are carbon-based, I would say.
Okay, I like that. We have the alien.
Some aliens can move in and out of carbon. They're here right now. We don't know what's going on.
We appreciate y'all too. You know what I mean? I think we might even have to expand the demographic beyond carbon-based and happy-faced.
Like, yeah,
you
what
know,
if we
if
have,
you're
like-
here, welcome. We're happy to have you.
We have a audience out there listening and watching. But what if we have like an actual audience right here, live with
Right.
us that we can't see? It's pretty crazy. Those are the
100%.
aliens.
There's an audience just feeling right now. just in the atmosphere.
Right.
Damn.
Those are probably the ones that matter the most, I would say.
Damn.
Yeah, they're probably helping out with a lot of the things we do in our lives, huh?
100%.
facts. Those
Do you feel like
Making a lot of invisible shit happen.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I was going to say. Do you feel like those maybe have played an influence in your new album?
Yes. I'm always channeling. Always channeling. I've always been a like a producer, coach type, like more than even like the player artist.
Like a mentor type
Yeah.
almost?
Yeah, and so that makes my approach to music very I sample. Like everything I do is a sample. Like I'm always taking aspects of, whether it be an aspect of my life or an aspect of whatever it may be, and I'm putting it together and I'm infusing it to make it one thing. So I'm always channeling something in order to bring the information that I'm giving. So a lot of the times I'm coming up with like a line, and I'm sure that you've done this too before. I'm coming up with a line or a concept, and I have no idea the next day or 2 weeks later
Right.
or a month later how the fuck, where the fuck, what the fuck was I on when I
What kind of influence,
Like-
interstellar shit must I have been
what
invoked by?
What was going on? Like the song that me and Campbell did.
Okay.
Like, Ultraviolet. Like
Oh,
what the
yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
was I thinking about? Like
That was definitely something that needed a niche frequency
Right.
in order to produce.
right.
Matt
yeah.
Hat on the beat. Yeah, man, that song is amazing. And we're talking about your album, Alien, right?
Yeah. I mean I decided to talk about it, but you know, but I'm just getting that.
Oh, we're going to talk about it all
yeah.
throughout.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, speaking of reoccurring themes, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Yeah, that's going to be a reoccurring theme throughout the pod because I'm very excited about this project. Just from the tidbits that I've heard, you've definitely elevated yourself on a completely new platform sonically. I feel like your content tells a lot more of your story, which is quite interesting because I feel like you've been very biopic in your work
Right.
as of so far.
I agree.
And
I agree. That was an interesting dynamic when I listened to it too.
yeah, but you've attained a certain level of vulnerability in here that you've used, I feel like, as a navigation point in this project, which is, I think it's fitting that you call it Alien because I feel like that's the persona closest to you. So it tells a lot about you, and man, it's an exciting piece of work. I mean, how do you feel about it now that it is tangible?
At first, I was really nervous. Like probably about a month and a half ago, I was really nervous.
So not that far off. Okay.
I was really nervous just about how much I liked it, like how much I was going to like it after.
That's interesting.
After working on it for so long, and you know, sometimes you're listening to it for long periods of time. Sometimes you're taking breaks off of it. Like how much am I going to, at the end of the day, step back and be like, okay, I really, really fucking love what I did.
Right.
And so I was nervous about that.
You
because
can tinker too much.
it's not even, honestly, I'm such a producer that the more tinkering, the better for me.
Really?
Yeah, like the more like
This
like,
man was in here for months after like pretty
Yeah.
much all the recording was done. Like I was like the very last piece to record, and that was about a month ago.
right,
And
right. Yeah.
I seen you so meticulous with it, like every day, like scheduled.
I want to
out.
say we went into mixing in like we started mixing in like August
Yeah.
or like September or
Damn.
something.
Yeah.
And then it was like some of the songs evolved during the mix.
Right.
And I whenever that happens, I know it's gonna be a special project.
Right.
To that experience, how do you know when it's done?
You don't. I'm still working on it, and I'm getting the masters back. Like, you know what I mean?
Is that the
Like,
plight of the artist? You know? Even if it's out, even in a time where you're reminiscing, listening to this, you're going to find angles in which you could have expanded on the song, or...
I think that's dependent on the artist, but for me, I'm always chasing my own knowledge of what I'm capable of doing and the resources that I have to do it at the time. So that's my meter of measuring how well I've done, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that I don't know. I think that it's hard to judge yourself off of like things that you could have done or things that you may have done.
Right.
But when you like, I'm trying to think about the best way to explain this.
Because it's nice to know that throughout that process, though, this was something new to you in the idea that you were nervous about how much you enjoyed it. So throughout the process of ultimate discovery and always constantly finding new ways to improve upon it, you're also feeling this new feeling of, I have this different level of pride in my work that maybe hasn't been there before.
Right.
So I feel like that layer on top of this infinite discovery can be such a rabbit hole. You know what I mean? And like the appetite is insatiable in terms of what you want to produce on a project of this.
I think I figured out what I was trying to say. So I'm aware of that. And when you're aware of that, you can kind of set boundaries for yourself. Like you can have your own disciplines. You know what I mean? So I make sure to not like get too caught up in it just because I know, like, all right, like you can't fucking like hold yourself. You can't be too crazy about this.
Correct.
But I'm also a Virgo and I'm also a realist. So like, I'll look at something and I'll say, I was honestly just thinking it earlier today when I was watching some videos. I'll look at something and I'll say, okay, have I ever done anything that has felt like that good, that fucking professional, that great? And then I might say, no, I haven't done anything that I feel like is on that level, whatever it is that is inspiring me that I'm watching, right?
Right.
And then I might say, am I capable of doing it? If the answer is yes, if the answer is like, we have the camera for that, we have the location, we have the fucking song that's good enough, as good, whatever, then it's like, that needs to be met.
Right.
It needs to be met. Like, why wouldn't we do that good if we can do that good?
100%.
With the music is where it starts. So first, I gotta make the song that good. So I need to make sure that I've done whatever I can to make the song to the level of, then when I go to do the video, that's a component in making that experience. You know what I'm saying?
Right, 100%.
So I feel like that's where my discipline, my brain going crazy comes into play. Is that it's like an actual, it's not an invisible boundary.
Right.
Like that I'm like, you know what I mean? That I'm just
I
like
definitely
holding
understand.
myself to. It's like literally like a fucking, like I could see the point. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You're gonna make it the best possible thing that you can. Where some people would just, stop mixing in August and say, okay, that's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like, no, I know, like I can hold myself to this standard. I have to, like, you have to reach that point. So you like
I get it,
obsessive
yeah.
with that shit. Like,
Exactly.
there's no way that you're not gonna let it be the best you can. That way, when you put it out, you don't have that feeling of wanting to go back and tinker because you already done the tinkering and you've made it
There you go.
as good as you possibly want it to be.
Right, 100%. Yeah, now I understand where your mind was going full circle into that. You know what I mean? Because if you've created a endpoint to the trajectory, like if you were to just take a laser and shoot it in the sky, and we don't necessarily know how powerful this laser is, at some point that laser has an endpoint, right? And we're just looking at that dot in the sky. So you're gonna start projecting yourself towards that dot. And that's kind of like that infinite potential that a track has. But sooner or later, not knowing how far you're climbing, you're gonna reach past that dot's atmosphere and you're gonna realize, okay, I'm in the realm of this song where I'm past the dot. So this is the realm of comfortability. I can add a couple more things here and there. Maybe if somebody throws an idea and sparks something cool, I'll look at it. But this has reached the atmosphere that I'm okay with next track. So I get where you're coming from. So you don't necessarily have to have an end. You just have to have a room that you're okay with that track being in.
Yep.
That's cool. I like that. Because you have enough rooms, you create a house, and that's really what you want a fucking album to be.
Let me give you an example. The song you just heard, PF Flyers.
Yeah.
So that song for the past month and a half, 3 months. For the past 3 months now, has been on and off the album, trying to figure out how to get it good enough to make the album. And then when we added Factor, when we added his guitar, when we added Taylor, we did all these things, reproduced the beat.
That's interesting.
Behind it, and it made the album. So that's how I measure it. You know what I mean? I'm literally building Chevys. You know what I mean? And they all need to run to equal and customer value.
100%.
You know?
Right.
Being behind the scenes of the kind of seeing the project, I remember, like, I know you're like, people were like, when are we gonna have this shit done at points? And people were like talking about it, and I was like, just let him do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Like, just there's no rush. Like, in that sense, who else is gonna do this? Like, I'm curious at this point to see what happens. You know what I mean? But I was like, just trust the process.
Yeah. and it's that Mamba mentality of like going in, putting in that work, and then leaving it all out there to where you don't have to wonder. Like, you don't have to wonder, like, if you did it right. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that I'm going to sit there and wonder if I fucking did enough. Like, you know what I mean?
In a world where music, I feel like, is being, like... Spit out, 100%. There is a race of content. It's like this unspoken social contract that hip hop has now, that everything is fast paced. When you do drop a song, it has to be under 2 minutes. Don't give too much or expand on that concept too much. Lord fucking, God help us realize that you don't know what you're talking about halfway through the song because you didn't have much concept to fill the whole song. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, and in a world of that level, how do you, as an artist who is not at the platform that you would like to be at, right? I'm sure. How do you not feel the pressure and continue making music at a pace that allows you to produce at the level that you're doing? You know what I mean? Because if you didn't have these months to tinker, Alien would not be what these listeners are about to experience.
Yeah. It's tough. It's really tough, bro. It really is. Like, there's songs on the project that were gonna be on the project that were very vibey, like vibe based, like, you know what I mean, like just like of the time.
Just ethereal, just kind of more feeling.
Just what would play like in the clubs and stuff.
Yeah,
today.
exactly. You know, we had this song called No Hablo, which I really loved. I still love it. We'll probably still release it.
Yeah.
But it's not for this. It's not for this project and what I was doing, you know, because this project was for. It was for what my brand actually is. I realized that I need to stay tapped into, what's it called? Like when there's an oil, fucking like where you like someplace where you can get oil out of the ground.
A
what?
Like a vein?
Yeah,
and you tapped into a vein.
the oil vein of what I produce, you know, and that doesn't sound like anything specifically. It's just a formula. It's just how it's done.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what produces the sound. So, and I realized that certain songs that formula wasn't used. It was just a vibe, an idea that was just done. And it was more so for a connection to an audience that I would hope to get, as opposed to an audience that's just going to naturally attract to me. And the easiest way for me to stay in my lane per se, but just in my discipline is really what it is to just remember that people are going to be most attracted to me as me, not as this version. You know what I mean? Or giving them this version of what they want. Now, that makes it really, really hard when, like, you know, a song comes on and it's a fucking vibe, and you know I want to name some names right now. A song comes on and it's a vibe, or a pretty girl comes by and she got some bass bumping and her windows down, and you see her and she's like bumping some like fucking Lil Baby, and she's just like fucking knowing all the lyrics, and you're just like, oh man, like I want a pretty girl like that to vibe to my shit. You know 100%. What I mean? And I just realized like that's not my shit. Like that, like pretty girls vibe to my shit a different way. Like,
I was just about to say that. Like, it is your shit. And that's the thing is like you'll still have pretty girls vibe to your shit. It's just your shit they choose to vibe to.
And you know, I was watching I was posting this meme for like a week straight, and it was like different girls, like different pretty ass girls, and it was like when Sincerely Collins it was like something like the type of girl that listened to Sincerely Collins or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And it was like Janae Aiko. It was like fucking like Zoe Kravitz and like all that shit.
Yeah.
And I just realized, and it was all based off of like this meme that was a J. Cole meme that was like pretty girls listen to J. Cole. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, okay, like you just got to remember, like you don't get caught up in someone else's cloud. You know what I'm saying? Like,
100%.
do your thing. Like that's for them.
There is a big difference on creating the music that people love and people loving the music you create. And that, I feel like, stands the test of time as an artist. That should be a anchor. That should be a lighthouse in the way an artist navigates their discography. You know, am I making music that people love, or are people loving the music that I make? And I'm not saying tune out any type of outside opinion. Quite the opposite. But it's about which opinions you filter into yourself, right? You know, do you have, I mean, obviously in this project, you're collaborating with the space of Only Dreamers, which is a beautiful thing. You've taken in a lot of cool, maybe influences that weren't in other projects, maybe the minds of Kaleidoscope, like things that you mentioned, you know, how PF Flyers wasn't up to that atmospheric standard until Only Dreamer influence was kind of placed upon it. You know what I mean? Yep. So outside of Only Dreamers, were there any other new influences that you took on? And they don't even necessarily have to be people. It could be environments, vibes like you talked about. Maybe mushrooms. Different situations in your life. Mushrooms, you know what I mean? If you took some shit, like, is there any new influences that you've taken in to create this piece? Because I feel like this is a different standard for you.
Honestly, as knowing that this was like kind of a continuation of my previous work, yes, I kind of went into it with like I went into it with the attitude that I need to take all of the things that, I mean, it goes back to just all the things that make me me, but going back to all the things in my formula that worked to create those projects and make those projects what they were. It was like really a rediscovering of myself and my process, to be real with you. Like, and you mentioned the Only Dreamers. Like, this has been a really good experience as as a foundation and a home and a home base to really find that, to really like find that space and that creative mind to tap into.
100%.
But what was the question again?
Well, just like, what are the new? I mean, you were answering it without even knowing it. Yeah. What are the new influences that you've taken in maybe to build this?
So my influences really like I went and just looked kind of like at old influences, like how we talk about sampling. I kind of went to the record store and went and just picked things, you know.
Oh, nice.
So like not literally, like metaphorically, like I was going in and tapping into old movies at the beginning of the album, old movies that inspired me for Destroyer, because the Destroyer album was completely based off of me wanting to create movie soundtracks and get into film and TV and all that, which I'm manifesting I'm into now.
100%. We'll get into that.
And then also like the autobiographical what do you call it? Point of view that was on The Legend of the Phoenix. That was something that I wanted to tap into, so I went back into the formula of like, okay, what is it that I can, you know, channel from my past that people will connect with, like I did on Legend of the Phoenix when I kind of talked about my mom for a lot of it, you know. And that I got vulnerable with my relationship. You know, it was like, okay, that's something that everyone
and that's kind of what I meant by you've already been very biopic in your discography.
Right.
Like that album, you told a lot about yourself, but I feel like there's pieces in this that we get a new you in terms of like who you are as a human. Like
I'm more confident.
An alien.
As an alien. And what's funny is it's like the more you look at the human traits of you, the more you see that those traits are either stretched to a degree of not humanness, or you use them in a different way than a normal human would, which still odes to alien, which I love. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, lots of twisting and turning and intertwining of the themes to meet back in a core.
100%.
You know? And that is really what Alien started off as and ended up being. That was the trajectory, was to take everything that related to that word in correlation with myself and what I do and my brand. Take all those aspects around it and intertwine them to make what makes sense around that word. You know?
I like that.
And what it represents.
100%.
Lit. So do you have a date for this yet, or this is still?
We just got the masters back, so I always said 6 weeks from when we get the masters back.
Yeah.
So we have me and Action coming in today.
Yeah.
Yeesh, do the math.
So yeah.
Do the math, everybody.
I have a feeling we're gonna have a date by the end of the day.
Okay. Well,
So.
stay tuned. We got some.
It's a very exciting thing. We might throw it in the comments. Who knows?
Yeah.
If y'all are lucky enough, we might
Some
throw it in
dope
the
marketing
comments.
ideas for the album too. So I'm excited about this, and it's been lovely to watch this shit. Like it's an honor to have you here in this space and watch you and watch this album come together. It's been dope to get to know you more, because you know I've been a fan since I moved out here, and you know, The Phoenix was one of my favorite albums. When I heard that, I was like, what the fuck? Like, this guy is just fucking different, and just like somehow, you know, manifested that we got to grow together and over the last year or so, and it's dope. It's definitely grateful for the opportunity to be on the album, just to be around it and watch you. It really inspires me to see how hard you work, how you shoot so fucking high, and you hold yourself to that standard. Like, it like so much of my music has evolved because of that, because of your influence, because of Kyrie, because of everybody that's been in here. And this space wasn't like this before. And you can ask Matt, it's way different. This shit is fucking beautiful.
You said something to me before you left about like, dude, we're gonna look back on this moment.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And we were just like reminiscing for a moment.
It's gonna be a moment in time for us, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a moment in time. Like,
It's
especially after finishing this album, it's like I can really look back and say, holy shit, like there was a lot of moments that happened here. You know what I mean?
And more than just music.
Yeah.
Like, way more than just music.
Character
Like, brought it
development.
up
Just
was
like-
like an inside joke
Yeah.
or something. We said, I said like, I was like, we constantly, blah, blah.
Yeah,
And then so we
yeah.
were like, we just started.
We have so many inside jokes
everything that's
here
happening
in 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and the 2 years have been
I didn't
so
really hear anything
brutal,
Kaleidoscope
like,
just said.
outside of it.
Yeah, there's chaos
Crazy.
Not
everywhere
words.
around this building. And this is the one constant that we all have to come home to and talk about the craziness that's going outside.
100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity and thank you for being here on the
Hey,
podcast
man,
and shit. And
it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to work with all you guys for real. And I believe that everything happens for a reason. I believe that I'm put in every place that I'm put in, every location,
Every
for a
interaction.
reason. Every interaction for a reason, bro. Like
I couldn't agree more.
I needed every single ounce of what we got here. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I appreciate you guys for real.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
And I'm a fan, bro. Like there's a reason why there's a reason why you're on that fucking album. As my alarm goes off. There's a reason why you're on that fucking album. You know?
Because we woke. You know what I mean? That's why.
Woke, baby.
This is- we
Yes,
woke
we
now.
woke.
I was
We
like,
woke.
is it an 11:11 alarm? I was like, is it 11?
Right.
It's my pre-11 alarm.
What I find funny about this album is typically Alien is something that is ostracized, right? It's an outcast. Alien is an individual coming into a group that may be different from everybody else, right? But I feel like that term now, especially with the happenings of 2019 into 2020 culturally in America, it takes on a completely new meaning. And I feel like alien is a term that is either prevalent in a lot more people's lives right now. It's a point of anger, maybe in some people's lives right now. It's a point of pride in some people's lives right now. Is there any type of elements of relatability? Do you go into the different shades of alien in this project?
Absolutely.
Because I feel like that's very important in this time.
Absolutely. I mean, my daughter's Mexican. You know what I mean? So, like her mom lived here off of whatever you call, like a green card. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Her parents came here illegally. Her mom's parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Wow, so she's third generation.
yeah. So like, I mean, I am deeply engulfed in that culture, you know, and I've fought for that culture, and I fought with that culture,
Good.
and stood with that culture, and worked with that culture, literally, and so I know what it is, and they're very unrepresented in this space. And I'm given this space, like I'm uniquely that, like this person, you know what I mean? So like I'm here to speak about it.
And you put it in your music, like No Habla, which is, you know, hopefully we do hear that.
Yeah.
You know?
But I mean, there's a lot more. The first song on the album is called Sapius Exodus. It's Latin. It's
okay.
a Latin term for often tested. You know.
I like that.
And then the first person that you hear on the project is my good friend Riley, who's been on my last two projects, and she's singing in Spanish. She's half Mexican.
Okay.
So it's well represented from the jump. I even talk about, I have a song called Luxury Tax. I talk about real life situation. What else? There's another one on the project. But I mean, even like, and then you say the other aspects of Alien, like there's obviously extraterrestrial aliens. So
Right.
we talk about our song Ultraviolent that Matt produced, like that's getting deep into that realm, you know.
Dope.
Ancient alien space.
that shit is hard.
That laugh came with context, ladies and gentlemen. If you caught A-Factor's tone in that laugh, he just had a flashback.
Yeah, because that song, I was thinking about the lyrics of that song
Right.
while you were saying that.
Right.
That's very, like, alien.
It's there.
Like,
It delivers.
That song was made in a pyramid.
Shit is
it sounds
crazy.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
straight up. Like,
And then going back to that, like, where the fuck does that come from?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we were
it was
mid-hieroglyph
Like
with
when
that
you
one.
say, like, wherever you projected yourself to a pyramid when you made that song,
Right.
you were literally in the fucking pyramid somehow
Right.
because it sounds like you're in a pyramid that's doubles as a spaceship or some shit because it's
Facts.
fucking
Facts.
wild.
And that goes back to just needing the environment. Like Maddie, like that beat, like in order to get that song out, I had to have that beat.
Yeah.
Then I also have a song called Great Thoth, and Great Thoth is the ancient Egypt god of scribe, god of writing.
The eagle, correct? Thoth?
I think he kind of looks like
A representation of.
He's a descendant of, I know who you're talking about, Horus.
Yes.
Yes, so he's a descendant of Horus.
Okay.
So god of scribe, and also also a bird.
Yeah.
A bird is how he's represented.
Okay.
But I say, I am the scribe. I had to write it in hieroglyphs. That shit is hard to describe.
I love that line.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all scattered throughout.
I like that.
It's all scattered throughout the album, little gems and stuff.
That is fun to say. You know what I mean?
Which
What you just said. Like, I am the scribe. I had to write it in hieroglyphs. That shit is hard to describe.
Yeah.
To me, that is very similar to. She invited me. It's the Andre 3000 So Fresh So Clean line.
She
Vitamin D and invited me to that tingle in her spine. I'm trying to think of how it starts, but like, it's one of my most favorite lines in hip hop just because of the way it rolls off the tongue. You know what I mean? So like, I like that. That's just dope.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, there's that way of alien relating, and then the last way of, like you said, just feeling ostracized, like just feeling alienated, feeling separate from the pack, and ironically enough, the single "Alien" on the project is about just that. In the hook, I say sometimes I feel like I'm an alien, like I don't know who I am, and I just want to go home. Like that's some emo ass shit. You know what I mean?
But it's some real shit.
But what makes me I forget the point you were making earlier. You were talking about how like something was unique to you. How I kind of like intertwined some of the things. Mm-hmm. And damn, I forgot the point I was about to make about that. Fuck. I'll remember in a second. Go to the next thing.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. But I'm happy that you represent the different elements of it because I feel like naturally people are looking to
that's what I was
connect
gonna say.
with you.
Okay, so in the song Alien, there's the emo hook, right? Like the hook is very emo. But the first line of the raps is, sometimes I feel like a rock star, turn the lights low. Yeah, that. When the mood change, make the hoes go Mad Max. So it's like, it's almost bipolar. It's almost like someone who can tap into these feelings, but will still like go fight. Like, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like he's not gonna get beat up and thrown in the fucking locker.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's gonna stand up and fight for everybody who is getting beat up in the locker, and that's where the alienated theme comes into play, because it's very much like tapping into that vulnerability, that feeling different, feeling ostracized, feeling separated, feeling left out, feeling bullied, but not being a victim.
Correct.
Did you experience like that feeling in LA, like when you went there? Because I know a lot of the album, the parts of the album that have to do with the contrast between here and there, and the stories that you tell from out there.
Right.
It's kind of like maybe, did you feel that way out there, like alienated, like?
Yeah, definitely, and even just like during that time period, I felt alienated from what I knew from every moment prior. I'd been going through a lot. I had just reopened my mother's case, my mother's missing persons case, and I was going through a lot with my family, and I was just like, I was in a weird space, and so
That's an interesting place to be
very
during that time.
During that time, that I then moved out to LA with my girlfriend of 6 months at the time, and just living in Hollywood, like thinking that I don't have anyone, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was definitely in that spot. Definitely in that spot. Yeah, man, and that, I guess that is probably why, and I never knew this, but subconsciously, that's probably why I ended up tying that specific love story into the project because it was all around that time that I was feeling most alienated, you know? So that actually makes a lot of sense.
Is that Stella?
That's Stella.
So you mentioned Stella a couple times throughout the album, I noticed.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, more of a personification, a representation, you know, a character, if you will, that a lot of people can assimilate to?
Yeah, I feel like, okay, so...
Describe Stella.
So in the project, Stella is a specific female, a specific woman.
Okay.
Who I was with when I was living in LA. Both entertainers, and but I feel like for the audience to connect, I also threw in other aspects of things that can be considered fictional.
Okay.
But when I mentioned Stella, like the name Stella, that's all nonfiction. You know what I mean? Like that is storytelling 101. You know what I mean?
So
Right.
that's
Those
the
are
actual
chapters.
woman. It's not like a representation.
It's not a figment.
It's not a figment. Like there's figments throughout the album when you when you bring up women again, and it could be Stella, but when you say Stella, like in the project, like
right.
like I'm only talking about one person.
I get a feeling, to me, a similar feeling of the way you described it is kind of like Leonardo DiCaprio's wife in Inception. Her presence is not really, it's like, it's described only by like intensity. You know what I mean? Like her character's introduced into that film as an anomaly.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense, but you just fucking know she is a game changer.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just by the way the whole scene interacts with that woman in that scene, you kind of see the way things shift when that presence is there.
Right.
And it thwarts everything, it makes everything. So is that kind of, you know, am I making an accurate bridge to Stella?
100%. You know, I don't think women really like to be considered like muses these days. You know what I mean? Like, but like,
Get over it.
Yeah, but like
If you are, you are.
If there's anything that woman was, it was a muse. It was like a representation of God energy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it was the energy that made this project. And it's the energy that made the project that made the Phoenix at that time too. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely got some power behind it, you know?
Good. And I'm happy that you use the term muse, because you're right. I feel like in this revolutionary stand on your own 2 feet, you don't want to necessarily be a steady influence of another person's creation. Right? And you're just kind of this beacon of, I don't know what I did, but you're welcome. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't really ode to a certain skill set or anything. It just kind of odes to a presence. But I feel like in humans with confidence, there's the realization of self. Then there's the confidence in that self. Then there's the confidence enough to where you want other people to recognize that self. And I feel like once you've achieved true recognition among the people to where you feel comfortable, then there is a full circle effect to where you want that individuality, now that you know your presence, to actually be worked back into the big.
Climbing up the chakras.
You know what I mean? You actually want to get placed and be okay back into the source. You know what I mean? The most confident individuals will say some of the things that the people who are trying to be confident wouldn't be caught dead saying.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? For instance, there was an interview recently, Pharrell said, there's a lot of music where I completely channel other artists. I want to create in their headspace. He was even coined stating, you know, I don't even really make most of the music I make. Do you understand how much unrelenting confidence it takes as an artist of his caliber to have a quote like that in the time where people will take any context quote and eat you alive because of it? And it's because he has gotten to the point where he has recognized his self. He's built confidence within that self. He's generated a brand. He's influenced other people to believe in that brand. And once he's built that up, now just naturally Pharrell just wants to be associated with Source again, because he's he's satisfied his id. You know what I mean? He's satisfied himself. And I feel like, you know, be proud in the idea that somebody takes influence from you, and don't let the idea of someone else's influence hinder your own action in this world, because you can be a muse and a martyr.
Yeah.
You can, you know what I mean? You can be a beacon, and you can be the testament. You can be the the running mate. You know what I mean? The person who's actually doing the groundwork.
Hell, I've been a muse. Have you not been a muse before for somebody?
I'm sure I have.
I would say not. It hasn't been a direct conversation, but I feel like 100%.
You've been a muse for sure, bro. Like we all have, and like.
I think I'm a muse for my parents.
And yeah, like for a lot of people, bro. Like, and you know, all it means is living so much in yourself that someone else is inspired by it. Like,
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. And if anything, like, I live my life trying to meet the criteria of what it would take to be someone's muse. I'm not trying to be a muse, but the criteria is going to be met because of who I'm trying to be in general.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that presence eliminates any need for intimidation.
Exactly.
That presence is beyond intimidation, right? And I always knew, even as a child, watching like bully interactions, that there was a confidence that was beyond whatever pseudo fake faux confidence that was being presented in front of me by this person who had this use of a shield of aggression in order to make a point, in order to make a statement moving forward. And it wasn't until later in my years that I witnessed it that I was able to invoke it in myself. You know, I'm very against bullies in any type of way. You know what I mean? So any music, any presence, any situation that is a deterrent of that, is an extinguisher for that. Like, I'm aggressive to that. Like, I am aggressive to be a peacekeeper.
Right.
You know what I mean? I will be very forthright and demanding in my space for peace for my people.
Same.
You know what I mean? Like, I will be aggressively passive aggressive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
To eliminate that. I mean, you know, and I kind of felt that way about you as well. That's why I'm even bringing this up, and you as well, you know. You guys are very confident individuals that understand what it's like to be on the outside looking in.
PF Flyers, bro. Benny the Jet. Like, it's that mentality. Like, you've played your entire life with those kids in the Sandlot.
Right.
When those motherfuckers come from the expensive fucking whatever gym up the street,
right,
and they come to challenge you, like, you got to step up and you got to hit 10 homers because your boys aren't going to do it, but they're going to have your back, and they know that you're the one to do it. They know that you're the one that's going to get them over top of this hump, and you're there to represent them. And there's only so many of us.
100%.
You know what I mean? There's only so many of us that can do both. Get you someone who can do both. Nah,
please.
But like, you know what I'm saying though? There's only so many of us that can really go out there and like and step in front of a bullet for other people on behalf of other people.
Right.
And do it intelligently and do it with a purpose, and do it. I don't really do it to represent like. I do it to represent an energy. I do it to represent like a vibration that
presence
that I just happen to live within.
Yeah.
That is like, I occupy this space, so it is my duty to do this. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why I can go to this lunch table and this lunch table in high school. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's a reason why. So it's like, you have to utilize what you're given.
Trying to bring the vibe of the Sandlot all the way to the major leagues.
100%.
Exactly.
And, you know, to go, it's, and I feel like to take it another step, I want to merge those lunch tables. I want to have enough presence to where you automatically off top have a seal of approval onto anybody that I interact with. No matter what type of background, no matter what type of demographic that they represent, you know that they're going to come with a certain type of vibe of frequency because they're associated with me. and the confidence that I bring through to where those lunch tables can become an Oval Office. You know what I mean? Where it's an oval table where everybody's sitting, congregating, eating. That's the ultimate goal. But you first have to be the one to speak out. And I feel like that also attributes to the team around you. Because to have the courage to step in front of that bullet is a summation of courage. It's not the courage that I feel like you have had within yourself. Because without that, this album would have been fire somewhere else.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's, for me, you know, it's a concept that I'm developing with my boy 21, the Hercules effect. You know, and it's told a lot more in the idea of, you know, Hercules is one of the most known stories throughout history of heroism, you know, bravery, that nigga, you know, being that person. But it was really the team of individuals that either influenced him, gave him the help, gave him the positivity in order to become and rise to the occasion and be that character. You know what I mean? And I say that because there's a lot of listeners out there that maybe not feel like they're in the position to cross from lunch table to lunch table, but they want to be.
Right.
They see that person. Well, speaking to those individuals, you play just as a pivotal role in that exchange, because that person who is playing the explorer and trying to cross bridges, they can't do that unless you let them into you to find those commonalities to bring to those other individuals. So you also have to be real within yourself and give your 100% to those individuals.
Well, there's a certain bravery that comes within them. There's a certain bravery.
Exactly.
There's a certain bravery that comes within the people who are willing to, like, even, let's go back to the Sandlot. I love using metaphors. Like,
absolutely.
Even in the Sandlot, they only had 8 of them, and they needed Smalls in order to make 9. There's a reason why they didn't have 40 kids waiting, trying to get in there. There's only some kids are even willing to get in the fucking Sandlot and play. Squints, you saw what it took for him to get in that motherfucker.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
It took a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like, and if you happen to be a Benny the Jet, you in the mud, you in the Sandlot, but you have the tools to get out. Like, every single person on that field made Benny the Jet.
100%.
Like how is he supposed to, like, he was given the God-given ability.
He had the sauce
to use what was in front of him to build him up.
Absolutely.
And they all were those individual pieces.
And
exactly.
If he didn't have one of them, Smalls didn't show up or whatever, he maybe wouldn't have made it to the major league, because that plays such a crucial part. It's those
maybe
people
if that motherfucker didn't have to just aim that bitch right in the Smalls glove and have him just stand like this, he wouldn't have been good enough to make it to the motherfucking major leagues.
Exactly.
And those are the people, those, like, to make a comparison, those are people that were, you know, our first managers, our first fans, like the homies that we were around that we first showed our music to, and they was like, oh, that's dope, or, you know, they put us in that mind state, like, they all gave us the juice, because I could think specifically of my homies that the reason I'm here right now is because, like, I don't think I would be here if I missed one of those people giving me that encouragement, pushing me in the Sandlot, telling me, you the Jet, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like
and
you're
the
that
most
guy.
conscious, right? The most dope, the most fly, the most proper, the most top line in their industry are conscious of this. They're conscious of the network, and they understand the confidence and being okay with allowing these people into themselves to become what they need to be. You know what I mean? It all flows back into itself. You know what I mean? That is the confidence that I saw as a kid, or just understood the presence of as a kid watching a bully. There's something above you. There's a person that understands that they need that person that they're picking on, rather than showing that aggression. You know what I mean? I like that, man. I like that, and I'm happy that we have a piece of work that's going to tell a little bit of that story.
I feel like life is just a bunch of fucking Power Rangers. We just out here creating Megazords.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
It's so true.
Just out here Captain Planeting with our powers combined.
Fucking
Voltron.
Voltron.
Right.
And we need each other to, like, we're all powerful by ourselves, but, like, look at what we've done with this environment. When you get the actual right pieces that can work together and be a team, and look what we created. And, like, how much dope-ass music is going to come out because of the last 2 years. Like, even moving forward,
100%.
even if it's not made here, like, the inspiration that was taken
we're
from
new
here.
people because of it.
Yeah.
And it's giving new perspectives to the world. This creation is allowing further creation. It's allowing further people to get a certain spark, a certain feeling. You know what I mean? You've recently had some morphin' time with some pretty big companies. Dare I say, the UFC.
Yeah. Dream come true.
Unbelievable. You know,
can tell by the front of the podcast. You love UFC.
Yeah, 100%. So for those of you who don't know, Sincerely Collins has had now 3 placements in national sports leagues, being recognized as an artist, as a hype bringer, as an energy provider. And he was recently a part of the Fight Night final promotion for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Jeff Neal, which they're top-ranked fighters. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's top 5, so this was no joke. And he had the promotion for both of them. You know, they give a little promo to get the blood boiling for all the fans and the viewers, and they show one side of the tape and they build up that one side, and then they show the other side of the tape. Well, during this exchange, they didn't flip the song up, right? Just this last recent one, they didn't flip the song up. So not only did you paint a picture for Jeff Neal, but they felt like that was also just as accurate for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Right.
Just this last one, Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar, they had no lyrics. The entire thing was a very dramatic guitar instrumental. So they are 100% focused on the vibe. They're very conscious of what they do. It's not a willy-nilly situation, right? And the fact that not only were you able to do that, but this is your second UFC placement, lets you know, obviously you're ready, but, I guess, what are your thoughts on that? I feel like that's an extraordinary placement.
Yeah. It's the aliens in the room. I got a call from my publishing company, Lyric House, out in LA, and they asked me to make a song. They asked me to make a song for.
Shouts out to Lyric House.
Shouts out to Lyric House. They've done so many phenomenal things for me. So many great placements. MTV, BT, ESPN, fucking UFC, pay-per-view, fucking like all that shit. So Jessica, my homegirl, she hit me up and she was like, "Hey, we wanna link you up with our producer Miles and have you guys make a song for." I'm trying to remember what the game was. Call of Duty. Call of Duty.
Trying to remember the name of that game, right on the tip of my tongue. Oh,
well,
yeah.
Because I knew it was 3. It was either Fortnite, Call of Duty, or... All right, so anyways. So it was for Call of Duty. So I got really excited because my kids play Call of Duty. And they don't play Call of Duty. They wish they could play Call of Duty.
100%.
But they love Call of Duty.
And that's something that you don't tell them ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just allow them one day to get on Call of Duty, and then the presence of "I'm always watching you." Do you understand? Like, sidebar. Right. Do you understand the level of dad superpower that you have on these kids?
Bro.
To be like certain dads have this ominous presence to where it's like, I can't sneak out. This nigga's Batman. I don't understand it. There's monitors everywhere. I feel like, some things are thumb pad, keypad needed. Like, I don't understand it. But this kid's gonna be playing fucking Call of Duty, sniping his friends out and hear your voice. That's gonna be a different situation.
And that is a blessing right there. And that was what the trajectory was for. And it still could be for, because it's not exclusive to UFC. Obviously, it's been used twice, and it's been used in some other things as well. But
yeah.
So she hit me up to do the Call of Duty song, and so I came up with the "Let It Ring," letting a gun ring, whatever. And I thought it was really funny because I don't really I don't have a problem with guns. I actually need to buy a gun, but I don't really subscribe to that world or dimension or whatever.
Yeah, it's not a lifestyle. You're just
not even
knee-deep in.
even the video games aspect of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm literally I'm literally asking my daughter and I'm asking them what type of gun should I put in the song? What type of stuff should I say about sniping people? What do I say? You know what I'm saying? So they're helping me with the song and shit.
No scoping and
no scope, all that shit.
Yep.
What I say? Warzone got the iron on. There's some phrases in there that would just be Call of Duty ass phrases.
100%.
So we made
Which
the
is
song.
hard. You can make gum bars now, and they ain't even really gum bars or video game bars. Like, you want 100% accurate to lifestyle.
Right. So, so we submitted the song. Fortnite didn't use it for the exact promotion that we were making it for. So after they didn't use it for that, they just started shopping it a few other places. And one day I just get the fucking call that I'm trying to remember how we found out. I think our boy, who was it that hit? I think Tyler found out first. I can't remember how we found out, but someone, like, other people just started hitting us up like, yo, like, your song's in the Adesanya promo. And I'm just like, wait, what? Go over there, and sure enough, it's playing in the Adesanya promo. And, like, I just announced that he's my favorite fighter. Like, just announced that, you know. So it's crazy how they work. You know what I mean?
100%. And then now with your second placement being Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Jeff Neal.
Right.
You know, just that I love the representation of it. I felt like it was a great promo. Honestly, it was a great highlight for you because there was a lot of moments in between the commentary of Joe Rogan and DC.
Hey,
that you
I'm
can
not
hear
even
your
gonna
voice
lie,
clearly
bro.
there.
I'm not even gonna fucking lie, bro. I was very excited. I was so excited when I saw my song come on. When I saw Adesanya, when I saw Paulo Costa.
Oh, it was for the Paulo Costa Adesanya beef?
That
The
was
first
the
one?
first one.
Wow, I didn't catch that one.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that one. That's also huge.
I was very excited, bro.
One of the most pivotal points in his career up until the light heavyweight coming up.
But when Joe Rogan started talking over my voice, I was like,
Jeez.
I made it!
That's it.
I'm here! I've arrived!
That's it.
I've arrived. I might as well have been on JRE.
Been on the podcast, yeah.
I might as well have been on it.
That's dope as fuck.
Like, that's how I felt at the moment. You know what I
100%.
mean? Like, now obviously you get a thirst for more. You get a thirst for the next thing, but I'm basking in that.
So-
Like, there's no way I'm letting that shit just fly by. Like,
I'm
Yeah,
not
that
gonna
shit
front.
is dope as
I
fuck.
was-
If I
I
could
was
have Joe
full
Rogan talk over
fanboy.
my shit.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was a little fanboy
it
for a
felt
couple
like
minutes when I saw it.
Knowing Joe Rogan heard it.
Yeah.
Like, you know he heard it. Like, he heard it. Like, he's
Yeah.
in it. It's for his promo. Adesanya heard it. It's for his
DC
like,
heard it.
DC heard it. Like, these are my fucking heroes.
And they
like, these
proved
are my
it.
guys.
They were like, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Works perfect.
Yeah. Let's use it on the next one.
So-
you know what I'm saying?
And that's what I mean in terms of recognition. I mean, that level of recognition is phenomenal. You know, to have as an artist, to have as an alien.
Yeah.
You know, do you feel more accepted in the community when those things happen?
Man, that's a great question.
Feel less alien?
When you say accepted in the community, you mean like my immediate community, or do you mean like the
UFC?
culture?
The culture.
The culture. To be honest with you, no. The reason being is because, and this is kind of another segue that we'll get into later, but I separate the worlds of whatever you would call the culture, and when I make certain types of music
Okay.
with a certain intention behind it. So, like, for instance, this Alien album might be my last rap album because the space is exhausting. Like, the rap space for me is, it's very left-brained. It's like something that I have to like, I have to navigate through very like cautiously
Okay.
because of the type of person I am, because of like how my personality, my openness, the way that I create I live artists. I live as an artist.
Yes.
So I'm much more comfortable in the realm of like writing for TV and writing for mood and writing for fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Capturing scenes, you know,
Yeah.
invoking scenes, invoking emotions, and adding to that.
Exactly.
And that's why I wanted to bring that up earlier too, because I've noticed that you do that. Like like you saying, the Destroyer was you trying to make like soundtracks, like motion picture scores, like shit like that. And I could see you, like you'll draw inspiration for something and you'll like study it and then like break it down. Shit, that's pretty dope. Like I was here when you started that 49er song.
Right.
Yeah, and you're doing your research on that shit, making sure. But I like that, like you'll think of an idea and you're very like pointed towards what the goal is. And I understand what you're saying when you like separate yourself from the culture when you do that, because when you're doing something like that, it's bigger. It's bigger than that feeling of the culture and shit.
It's bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you're writing for a greater purpose. You're writing for the moments of others.
Like you're not even a 49ers fan, but you were able to put yourself in that mind state.
Right.
Like, okay, what would they like to hear? And it's their fucking
Which, if we're gonna mention the UFC placement, let's just not mosey over. I love the way you segued into that. Another thing, because you mentioned the music work that we had heard you use or they used with the UFC. It's used for other things. Something that's probably not used for other things is the 49ers song.
Right.
That is, correct me if I'm wrong, is it going to be
just
casually just throwing in that you're going to be the theme of the San Francisco 49ers in the next football season?
Yeah.
One of the most pivotal points in your career. Are you a 49ers fan?
I am in no way, shape, or form a 49ers fan. However,
And I hope that doesn't ruin anything that you have moving forward.
And it, if it shouldn't. It shouldn't, because if it did, it'd be a shame. But I'm not a 49ers fan, but I'm a professional. That's what I say. I'm a professional. I was asked to, and I need to make sure that I don't need to, but I would like to make sure that I take this stance because I am a fan of other teams. You know what I mean? So I need to make sure that like I'm riding for those. One being the Cardinals. Like I'm a Cardinals fan. And 49ers are our rivals. So I need to make.
So that's why it's kind of funny that you're the voice of
exactly. But I am a professional,
Which I find beautiful. You know what I mean? Like they're still taking pieces of Arizona to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, but I'm a professional, and it was a challenge, and it was an opportunity. And all those things, that cocktail was like, yeah, like, I would love to do this. Was there doubt, like, should I not do this because it's kind of like against my city, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, you know what? No, it's not. Like, like this is the epitome of
you're just being creative.
Of what I'm saying and not being controlled by this culture.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, take this opportunity. Like, am I really going to, like, not do this 49ers song because
a lot of Arizona artists would probably hell no, I'm not going to take that, but it's a big opportunity for you, and it shows like you're a professional, like you're just a creative.
Exactly.
Like I've seen you do songs about the city of Mesa and shit like that, so it's like it's not like you're so tied to something or whatever. Right. It's like you're just displaying your talents.
And
you're being creative no matter what the point is.
That's where my mind was when I decided to take it. Was I'm not tied to anything. Like what? Like am I a slave to the you know what I'm saying? To some shit like no. Like if I want to do this song, like you know what I mean? Like they're gonna pay a little bit of money. I'm gonna fucking be the face of their Spotify for the next season. Like when we can perform there again, I'm gonna fucking go perform it.
That's
like
dope.
they were talking about possibly having the 49ers play games here.
Damn.
What would that be like?
That's interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm manifesting my own motherfucking world over here. Like I'm gonna bring the 49ers here. How about that? Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's the way I'm thinking. You know what I mean? So
and I think it's more important to allow those walls to not be there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because you're right. There's a lot of people that would take that opportunity and just for the pride or just because of
people
the context or the judgment of it, right? They'd be like, no, I'm not going to do that. But what you've done...
Yeah, what would my homie think? Because he knows I'm a Cardinals fan.
It's not like you started, doing Bay Area style music for the San Francisco 49ers. You developed something that they can take, an intensity that they can feel as motivation in their team from your character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Service.
You offered a service, and it's the same service that you're offering to the rest of anybody who listens to your music. You know, and I feel like it's, you know, 49ers are just like anybody else who takes something from your music. And it's not necessarily about the team or anything of that nature. It's about the moment you're creating for these people.
Exactly.
And as long as you can give, as long as that song makes them play their best.
Exactly. It's supposed to actually help.
That's what you made it for. You know what I mean? Like, I think you're more loyal to people. It's not even necessarily, you didn't do it because you're loyal to a certain individual team. You're loyal to the feeling of that season. You're loyal to, let's bring our fucking best. Let's put our balls to the wall and let's see who comes out top team.
Right.
You know what I mean? And cool, you know, hopefully Cardinals can catch wind of this and understand what really the vibe needs to be to create a nice vocal presence for a season.
I was just gonna say we have an individual right here. I would just as easily do it for the Suns, for the Cardinals, for the Coyotes.
And you already had a relationship with the Suns before quarantine hit and everything anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so you've made steady factions to be represented by Arizona sports teams, you know, before any of this happened anyway.
Absolutely. So, you know, like sometimes my state's a little bit slow on getting caught up with just what is going to make people move, what's going to be innovative, what's going, you know, Arizona sports, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we just got Chris Paul.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
got some new dope jerseys and shit. They're redoing their arena.
We got some dope jerseys. You know, Kyler was doing this thing this year a little bit. Like, we got some good things popping in Phoenix, and I'm here for us as well. You know what I mean? Like, and use me, fucking use me. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
You know,
You're for the ether.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. But you got to also understand that is like that's valuable. Like, I don't know that some people understand where the value is in some things that are done. You know?
Something went wrong with the audio, so
we're back. We teleported.
yeah. Maybe
Hi. We're not going to tell you how much time lapsed, all right? But I shaved twice. So, welcome back to the pod, ladies and gentlemen.
fucking, so I don't remember where we were.
Well, where we were.
We were talking about. We're just gonna throw some new shit in here.
No, I got you.
We're talking about spirituality earlier, right?
Okay.
Do you know any witches?
I do. I've dated some.
See, I've kind of got that vibe from you.
Yeah, I've dated some.
I feel like for Mermaid Freak, is Stella
Stella's a
of
witch?
the witchcraft environment?
All I'm gonna say is her favorite movie was The Craft.
Okay, so she could either be obsessive compulsive, extremely bipolar, or a witch, because I feel like those are also controlling themes in that movie.
Trifecta.
I was about to say, did I hit it on the head or did I hit it on the fucking head?
Cool.
Shouts to The Craft, not the new one. The new one it didn't do it. The fucking old one, they made a new one, but the old one is the business.
What did the new one have in it? Or who did the new one have in it?
I don't even know, man. Honestly, I watched a couple bits of it and I just got disgusted. I have like a certain diehard loyalty to like old school movies.
Yeah,
like,
they have to be,
don't do it.
Yeah, you gotta shoot them with the same like darkness. You gotta shoot them with the same fucking.
Yeah, like there's certain movies.
Almost lack of dialogue sometimes in '90s movies.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like letting the fucking score talk a little bit more.
100%.
Like all kinds of shit like that.
I've never watched The Craft, but I think I've met a few
some fucked
witches
up
for
shit.
sure.
The Craft is a phenomenal film, mainly for the facial expressions used in that film.
I don't remember them.
Oh God!
You're like obsessed with the way people facial reactions, because every time we talk about something, you always bring up that Ryan Reynolds in the Green Lantern shit.
Because
it's like the way his face was when he was supposed to see his spaceship was ridiculous.
Should fucking happen in a film, 100%.
That is
Yo,
your
facial
basic.
expressions are the
dead serious.
separator.
This is his top.
Dude, facial
is so
expressions are the
serious.
fucking separator between the mediocre and the phenomenal, all right? There are so many actors that are placed in big roles that are still never considered to be top or elite actors because they have not mastered the facial expressions in those moments, man. I'm telling you. And there are certain scenes, certain movies. Think of any fucking phenomenal scene of a movie that you have, and I guarantee you, make them just blank face that scene, and you tell me if it had the same intensity. You know, if they just fucking no, I'm trying to think of an actor that, you know, Keanu Reeves has the exact same facial expression in everything that he does. I love the man. You know what I mean? But like, there's certain roles that Keanu Reeves cannot be in.
Yeah, there'd be no way.
You know, he couldn't do Shawshank Redemption. He couldn't do A Few Good Men. You know what I mean? Keanu Reeves couldn't scream, "You can't handle the truth." All right, Jack Nicholson needed to do it with every inch of fucking explosion that he had in that courtroom.
It'd be more like, "You can't handle the truth."
Right, it would have just been very, like, statement, like, matter of fact, like, "You can't handle the truth." Like, you're correct, I probably can't. You know what I mean? But it was,
Calm down.
it's delivered with a certain intensity in the facial expressions. You know what I mean? There's certain people who their entire career is made off of their presence and their facial expressions. Example, Benicio del Toro. You know what I mean? If you know any actor, any movie that Benicio del Toro's been in.
I don't even know who the fuck Benicio del Toro is.
Are you serious, man? Oh my gosh. Go for it.
Zorro?
Yeah, okay, so for the easiest one, he's the Collector in all of the Marvel films.
Well, he's,
Silver hair nigga, that's Benicio del Toro.
Wait, maybe.
But he's also done like Sicario, you know, like that crazy ass gun running movie.
Is that Puss in Boots? Or I'm thinking of another person.
No, that's Antonio Banderas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Close enough, right?
Antonio Banderas is not good with his facial expressions. We can jump off the topic,
well,
right? I'm just saying.
Facial expressions,
goddamn number one
This
thing.
is the point of contention with him. He really fucking did, like, he's a
Because a lot of the time
for how
they're given in candid. You know, a director is in. If you're a really good director and you're pinpointing facial expression, you're almost micromanaging, right? Like that has to be that individual in that moment delivering that, and I feel like that right there shows the epitome of acting. When you have developed a skill so much that it's naturally just a part of your being, facial expressions are one of the most simplistic ways to show that. How deep and into the character that person is.
They say they don't get an actor for his acting, they get him because of his choices, the choices he makes with the script. Like the facial expressions that they will make, just, you know, reading a piece of paper and people like seeing it in their mind how their face should look. But yeah, that's very
100%,
important
man.
to him.
Changes.
I wanted to talk about witches.
You did that to yourself, Factor.
You did it because you started talking about the facial expressions of the people in the craft, and that's why it was so great.
All right, man.
Did Stella ever boil a cat?
Oh, God, no. That sounds crazy.
The smell.
All right, tell me about this. What happened? Let me
smell.
Let me light this Palo Santo while y'all talk about
I can
this.
light the sage over here.
Azalea Banks recently on Instagram unburied her cat, who was since deceased. The cat's name was Lucifer.
I would hope it's dead if she unburied it.
She unburied it. It depends, you know, how long the cat wasn't buried for, you know. No, but it was very dead. It was a very dead cat named Lucifer, apparently very close entity to her. She wanted to keep the vibe of Lucifer, so she took the cat, boiled the cat in her house, filmed it to retrieve the clean skull. And so she took the skull of the cat, is now having it set in certain chemicals, which she is going to take it to a taxidermist for it to be cased in a metal that she is going to keep as a commemorative memory of her cat. And
so basically, she boiled the cat herself as a publicity stunt to then do the rest of the shit she wanted to do.
Publicity stunt.
She filmed it
Active
for a publicity
character.
stunt. But she probably did it just to keep the skull. I mean, it's taxidermy, you know. People do it. Usually
that's
not in their home, though.
I'm saying the skull thing, like you said, it's not that wild.
Yeah.
It's not that wild.
Like from the headline that you'll get on it.
If you right, exactly. The TMZ headline on this paints her as a manic, out of this world, you know, maybe a little sociopathic.
She's kind of crazy though.
Oh yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Cool.
It definitely takes a different characteristic to want to do this, but this is a culture it's a part of. I mean, people make professional.
Breaking the taboo of death. Monks used to keep skulls on their desks to remind them of death. That's a huge flaw in our culture. Is we like avoid that. That's one of the biggest taboos there is.
Well, I think it's because right now we are in the realization of vibe. And I feel like any time as a human, when you evolve, you'll immediately see the benefit of that evolution and you'll go to the extremities to find where it starts to bend and break. And then once you start to see the collapse in that mindset, you realize you have to reel it in. And there's a certain point where that mindset works. Like what I'm talking about is we realize the importance of frequency and vibration and being around people that have a similar vibration. And for you, in order to, delve deeper into whatever mindset you're currently experiencing, and there's great benefits in that. But there's the extremity of no bad vibes. I don't want no fucking bad vibes around me. If you whisper anything negative, I'm gone. I'm teleporting. I'm evaporating. Yeah. We are avoiding bad vibes at all costs as a society, and we are seeing the bend and break of that. You know what I mean? We're seeing that if we just tuck our head between our legs and scream, there is no weeds, there is no weeds, there is no weeds, you're gonna fucking open up your eyes and still see a whole field of them. You know what I mean? And we gotta live with that and embrace that. The duality, and it's reining back in on that discovery, that evolution that we have had in our mental state. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So cook skulls, people. Is that the lesson?
I wouldn't mind having like a skull.
Bro, we need a skull for the studio.
I loved my dog Indigo so much. I was like, yo, when he dies, I would get that motherfucker stuffed, like in Scrubs, like
Oh my god. I mean, and a lot of people picked her apart, but there are
Scrubs did it.
There are very Christian. There are very Christian homes right now that have bearskin rugs. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
There was a very crazy, almost witch-like brutal act that happened in order to get that on your floor. So, because you didn't do that yourself.
Yep, we're desensitized.
Or film it.
Yeah, or film it and put it on Instagram.
That's the weirdest thing about it. Like, she didn't have to film it, but that's why I think she just did it to get her name out there. Like, she just wanted to be in the news again.
It's probably something that she decided she really wanted to do. She knew it was weird. She was like, I'm gonna boil it. She probably found out she had to boil it. She was like, I'm gonna boil it my fucking self and film it. So at least after I do this, A, people will know how, like, the story of it, of how I got it.
Right.
And B, like, some fucking clout. Like, her streams just went up for a little while. She probably just got booked for a couple interviews. Like,
I'm sure. What I found really funny, though, was her snapback. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it was almost kind of fueled from the perspective of, get off my back, America. Oh my God, you're acting like this is so wild. For me, I kind of mentioned this in the last podcast. Understand the realm that you're in, accept the realm that you're in, and just live comfortably in there. The example that I used is, if you like getting pussy or you like getting dick,
own it.
It's okay. But guess what? That's called being a whore, and you need to smile when people call you that. Because if that's what you genuinely like within yourself, then take the connotation away from the word itself. She was so mad because everybody was so judging her, but you know that this is 100% left field from any perspective that anybody has been shown. And you knew the platform that you were putting yourself on by doing that.
She got you, bro.
She got you.
100%.
She got you.
She didn't get me. How'd she get me?
Because she don't give a fuck. She don't give a fuck, bro. She just talking.
Exactly.
She's starting controversy. Her whole brand is Diary of a Mad Black Woman, and she's gonna push it to death.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's gonna push it to death.
I get that. I mean, I guess I understand that
She's gonna
to
go
a certain
on every
degree.
platform she can, and she's gonna argue with every single person, because that's what pays her bills.
This,
That's some Hollywood shit.
We in the pandemic.
That's some Hollywood shit.
I
I'll tell
get
you
that.
right now.
Yeah, I get that. And it's asinine. You know what I mean? There's easier ways like artistry to speak for yourself. You know what I mean? The only thing that we have
is the way she took. Because nobody's like...
Yeah, there's harder ways. There's more...
I
purer ways.
actually disagree.
There's more
quote
pure
unquote
ways.
better ways, I guess.
I disagree.
Honest
because it's going to be more difficult to now separate her achievements from her character. We've seen that with Kanye. You know what I
She's
mean?
already
So
been
is
like
it more difficult?
That's what I thought.
Is it more difficult though? Because if you would have taken, I guarantee you right now, if Kanye didn't do all the crazy shit, there would be better opinions of his music.
Yeah, totally. I get
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
So and it would sell more and it would actually be received better by the public. Records that people would have deemed incredibly left field and this is when Kanye started decaying without the other publicity stunts to have factored that in.
No,
they probably still would have enjoyed that a lot more. So I'd say it makes it more difficult.
I'm gonna say that Ye probably would have. I think his opinion of his music would be higher for sure. I think he would sell it less.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that there's a whole culture of
That's interesting.
of media that knows that you need to start an argument every time. You need to have duality happening, whether it's you being the negative so that everything else can bounce off of you,
Right.
or whether it's you're putting so much positive that there's a bunch of negative that's going to come around you. You have to create that current, that conversation that's going to get people tuning in, because everything's a marketing scheme at this point. Like you're going to listen to a song more times because people are discussing whether or not it's good than a song that you already know is good or you think is bad.
The point of a headline isn't to like give you information; it's to create two sides.
Exactly.
Like that's like it's like okay now like because
It's to create a stream.
Exactly.
It's to create a stream of
you have
two
opinions,
more things that can then create, and then you can start building things to sell off of these things.
It's like we could see the headline of her boiling her cat and break it down to, it's spirituality. No, this is taxidermy. No, maybe she's just fucking crazy.
No, this is witchcraft. This is paganism
Yeah,
versus
exactly.
Christianity. Right.
So all these different conversations can now open up, and all she has to do is just throw a stick in like every 20 minutes.
or a cat head.
Yeah. Or,
Throw a cat head like every 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Throw a bone out. Literally.
Yeah, just every 20
you got
minutes.
me. That was a good one.
And yeah, I think, and you know, Ye's been doing that since Dark Fantasy, in my opinion, which was his most well received album.
Yeah.
His best one.
You know, I think that's when he realized hate was so good. You know,
Sir. You literally
bong around.
read my fucking mind. I was going to be like very like patient and wait until
I was
after
gonna
this
wait
hit
until
and be
after
like,
the podcast.
I was gonna be like, hey,
man,
bro,
I
you
see
know,
this man
like-
over here. It's looking good. I would like a bone grip also. Good thing we're like over an hour into the podcast, so this won't matter. Well,
Yeah, we got our sound bites.
yeah, I think this is a good one. I don't think, was there anything else you wanted to ask? So bringing it back to Alien, this is the end of the trilogy, right? Yeah. I was like, huh.
Yeah, that's
This is the end of the
This is a
trilogy.
culmination.
The Destroyer,
Is that
the
empty?
Phoenix, and now the Alien.
Yeah.
So I you know, it's a cliche, or you know, where do you go from here? What is because I know you mentioned earlier that you don't know if you'll rap, like have another rap project like this, and and I know we've been joking for months about starting a rock band.
Yeah, and I mean that.
Stop. That's not a joke.
we're not.
Don't fucking act like that's a joke, Kaleidoscope. That is inevitable.
Yeah.
Whether or not the question is how many albums. Don't fucking play me. At least an EP's coming.
It's gonna be like the internet though. It'll be like we're all independent, but we just like every once in a while we collab together.
It'd be like Rebel Child Soldiers.
And you know,
That
within a
never came
lot of
out.
your guys' collaborations, I will say I take the modest role, you know, and I'm an observer. I will outspokenly say, don't fucking make that project without me. All right, I'm on that bitch. I'm ready to go. All right. I'm tough. Y'all know I'm tough. So let's do it. Let's do it. Say it with your chest sometimes. You know what I mean?
Tough.
Yes, absolutely.
Ready to go to war.
We
Yes.
definitely could,
And for you, I want to talk about Ready to Go to War. That's a concept that I wanted to bring to you in the idea of the tipping point.
You still want me to answer his question? Or not?
No.
yeah, answer my question.
Answer your question. That's my ADHD, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry about that. I got excited. Now you know a question in the queue.
That was the weed.
Now you know.
That might have been the weed.
He hit the weed in the
Question.
sideways.
I blew
He
out
blew
the
right over the question.
So Factor wanted to know what's next from the trilogy, and he was
Yes.
talking about me possibly not.
Yes, that's
Or is this for
that
sure
is a very
the
relevant
end
question. Let's
of
talk about
the
that.
trilogy that you know
That's
of right
what
now?
That's what I'm trying to like. Who knows really? Like right now,
Right.
I'm only just like looking as far as where I'm at. I'm only looking as far as I can see. When I get there, I'll see further.
Right.
But for right now, it's the end of the trilogy. Like it feels like a good bow tie on that little segment, that theme. Yes, please. Yeah, it feels like a little good bow tie. When I say like, it really might be my last rap album, and I'm not even like saying that to be dramatic. I say that because
That is very dramatic.
it's a little dramatic.
It's something that artists say when they want to get that.
It's something they say when they want to be dramatic.
Yeah.
But
and
that's not-
get the conversation for their album.
For me,
Yeah, 100%.
For me, what I mean when I say that though is like not like I'm not gonna fucking like rap.
Yeah.
That's not what I mean.
Exactly.
What I mean is like you're gonna hear me doing less for the culture. Like it's not gonna be like me trying to create necessarily like a vibe for the culture unless I get inspired to do that again. Or it's gonna be more so me doing things to feed my family. Taking on lucrative jobs that I've spent my career career making these albums and going through these gauntlets to get these skills climbing up the mountain to be able to go into things like the UFC song themes and just knock them out and just be literally a few hours out of my day. Like, why am I not doing that all fucking day?
All day.
You know what I mean? What happens if I do that like an album?
Right.
You know? So these are
Because
other...
that gives you energy. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
those creations literally birth energy within you.
Exactly, and it seems to be a very natural flowing current when I do these things. It's something that rewards quickly. It rewards tenfold.
It's organic.
It's organic. You know what I mean? Let It Ring is my quickest growing organic song ever. I didn't drop it like I just dropped it on DistroKid out of nowhere, no like any promo, nothing. Just because it dropped on Adesanya song. Oh, I better put it out so people can hear it.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Give them a
And
place
it's
to
like,
see it.
And it's like 20,000 streams like without even like trying. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like without even doing anything. And it's just like, okay, like I feel where the energy's going. So
That's important.
so it's gonna be that, but also just like what type of music am I making when I'm making that? Maybe it's not the intention of the job itself, but maybe it's the music. Maybe that music is something I need to tap into more. That world sound. I had a band for 5 years. You know what I mean? Like I need to be more. I need to.
What was the band
infuse
name?
more. Wink. Weird is the new cool.
Okay, I
Yeah.
like that.
I had a band for 5 years. Like I've
Was it like gym class heroes-ish?
very, but that's only.
They were so influential. I just wanted to say, like,
Gym
that
Class
sound,
Heroes, bro. Travis McCoy.
that sound is so influential. Travis McCoy is like a spirit animal to a lot of people.
Yeah, Travis McCoy was my spirit animal for a couple years.
I get that. I
sure.
totally get that.
Changed the game, bro. The Paper Chronicles, their first album, that was amazing.
They are a
As
very
Cool as
innovative
School
group.
Children, their second album, just broke all kinds of records. I'm still very good friends with their drummer, Matt McGinley. He hooked me up with their guitarist, Dasashi, who is actually playing on my song Prosper Season, which just fucking took
crazy.
off this year because of, this is another topic. We're going to talk about this real quick. So, Prosper Season is a song from Destroyer, and it has a sample from the movie Fast and the Furious. They used this old song called, like, Nights at War or something like that.
Okay.
And I sampled that song that they used in the film in my song Prosper Season. Well, the new Fast and the Furious is about to come out, so they've been running Tokyo Drift all over other countries right now, getting people prepared for the new Fast and the Furious to come out this year.
Wait, is it because it's relating to Tokyo Drift?
So
Get the fuck out of here.
So because that
I'm so
sample
excited
is in
for that.
Tokyo Drift, and the sample's in my song, people are shazamming the song while they're listening to Tokyo Drift, and my song's coming up.
So it's Prosper season.
So it's Prosper season.
That's crazy, yo.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy,
5
yo.
years later, bro. 5
That's
years later.
crazy.
And at the end of that song, Dasashi from Gym Class Heroes has a guitar solo on it. Kills it.
Wow. That's one, very full circle, but two, very fitting for the name of the song itself.
Yeah.
Because the feeling itself brought prosperity for an unknown amount of time. I mean, that's pretty important, man. You know, now you are affiliated with one of the biggest movie franchises in this last decade.
On top of everything. So they
Not
might
to
come
mention
you.
the biggest risk in that franchise, I would say, that paid off the greatest. Because they did a completely different character setting, and Tokyo Drift is still regarded as one of the best Fast and the Furious movies in the trilogy.
Facts.
And I have always been saying they need to bring that country boy back. They need to bring that country. He plays the quarterback for Friday Night Lights, which is my number one favorite
does
film
he
of
play
all
the
time.
quarterback?
Yes, he does.
What else did he play? He played in some other movie where he was like a nerd.
Really?
Yeah, he was like a nerd, and he was like riding around on a horse. Like,
He's incredibly underrated, that actor.
fuck was that guy?
He's incredibly underrated.
I don't know.
I can't think of it, but I love him as an actor, man. Very excited if that's dope.
So yeah, man, they have that song in Fast and the Furious 2,
You
and
better bring old boy back in the next one. I've been
I
talking
haven't
about that
watched
forever.
Fast and Furious probably like the last 2 movies.
Really?
Maybe just the last one.
That would
but I
make
don't
me
know.
go back. Wouldn't it make you go back if they dip back into when, you know...
shit, I'm going back because that shit
Yeah.
got my song popping.
You have me. I'm like, I'm kind of over it. This has been happening since I was in elementary school.
Right?
I'm over it
Yeah.
at this point.
That's so true. I mean, so was The Matrix, but I guarantee you're going to watch that when it comes
there's
out.
only
I
a
was
couple
never
of those,
really
though.
like super into that, and there was only a couple of those. There's not fucking 20 of them. Like so.
That's a good point. It's like them making a new...
cars can you make?
Yeah, it's like making a new Jason film at this point. Like, there's 11. You need to stop.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like overall you're just manifesting a lot of shit that's just coming true in your life. So I wouldn't be surprised at all one day if you were making a soundtrack, the whole soundtrack, you know, EPing it for the Fast and Furious 25.
Right.
So
That's the goal, man.
yeah,
It's like,
and
it's to
making
take
that
shit.
worldly music that you were going to off of Alien, and just this. I mean, this album is amazing. We don't even need to look for it because this music is different. It's not like even though it will be labeled a rap album, I don't really think like it has a lot of different elements. Like just
Right.
like the last Stylebender, there's some songs on there that you're like, what genre is that? Like,
Yeah.
what can you label that as? And so I think you're already in that space, but now being more like pointed straight to
I almost
that,
feel like Last Album is more gospel than anything else.
Definitely. That had a very interesting, like, the content in that was very interesting. You know, there was, I can't think of the direct quote, so forgive me, but it's essentially, it tells a story of a child in the room using his imagination and creating kind of a world around himself and then kind of stepping into that world.
You talking about Stylebender?
Yes.
Ghosts around my room, I feel like a kid again. Voices in my head say, "Oh, look what we did again."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's the story of a young warrior, and growing up, and then in the verses, it's like that warrior has grown up and he's in battle, you know, and it's like Goliath was a monster, but David was an alien. It's showing, and the reason why I call it Last Stylebender is because that's a very what do you call it? It's very synonymous with a Izzy Adesanya quote where he said, "I don't need power. Everyone has power. I got precision." That's like Goliath was a monster, but David was an alien. Like,
Right.
like, what are you
100%.
gonna do to an alien?
Yeah.
100%.
You know what I mean?
That just thinks different. You could be as
Like-
strong as you want, but
Like, come
mind,
hit me. I'll
yeah.
I'll teleport from here to there and be behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know
Figures like Israel Adesanya are pivotal for culture to move forward and give a home to new creators and new innovators.
He's
And what I mean by
he's
that,
blending dream world and real world.
100%. And exactly. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of things about Israel Adesanya's character that he openly, unapologetically accepts that were deemed 5 years ago nerd shit, that are deemed even right now topics that kids in schools right now are being made fun of because they've expressed love for. He's pantomimed finishers and starting moves of certain characters in animes before he displayed incredibly real and beautiful showings of martial arts competition and finishing the top ranked individuals in his weight class, soon to be 2 weight classes, fighting Jan Blachowicz in March for the light heavyweight title. And having an incredible skill set, having an incredible concentration, and having a certain set of moves gives you the power to be whoever you want to be. And it doesn't have to be physical. You can have that love towards an art. You can have that love towards a science. You can have that love towards your own business. But as long as you develop that to an undeniable skill set to be recognized that anybody that wrecks in the room, anything that you now accept into this world is cool. Anything that you now have in front of you is used to tell your story. So what that does is thousands of kids, maybe even millions of kids, see someone like Israel Adesanya and say, it's okay to be like that. It's more than that. Embracing that is a part of my story. And when you have unapologetic people like that, another person that I can even say that is a completely different genre, that is Elton John. You know what I mean? Just because of what he did. But that just goes to show there's no certain person that does it. If it's within you, if it's innate, then that's the important thing. Izzy's definitely a huge displayer of that in today's culture.
That's PF Flyers right there. That's Izzy Adesanya. He's a Benny the Jet himself.
He is.
You know what I'm saying?
He is.
Like 100%.
And what a great bridge.
Challenge the bully.
What a great bridge. Because throughout his life, he has themed himself to challenging the bully. Throughout his life, he has themed himself to the Hercules effect and understanding that he is nothing without his team. You know what I mean? He knows the importance of, his kickboxing camp and everything that they've built around him. You know what I mean? That's a beautiful thing. He's definitely a good figure and testament to have in your album, because he's a figure and a character that exudes what I feel like Alien wants to exude to the world.
Exactly.
And I like that flip that you did, the last Stylebender, like the last Airbender, but Stylebender,
Yeah, but that's his name. Like, that's his actual.
Yeah, no, his name is Stylebender, but calling the song the last Stylebender.
Yeah.
Like, that shit is dope.
Just literally giving all ode to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just giving all ode to him. And then people who don't know him will know the last Airbender. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. So it ties in
they'll
those two
go in there and
things.
just like they'll listen to it and be like, okay, like this is dope just because it represents the theme of that also. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the
100%.
hero's journey.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Even down to his fighter nickname. If you don't know, you're kind of uncool. You know what I mean? Like, people say the last Stylebender with a certain like chuckle to it, and then the individuals who don't understand the chuckle, they're like, "What does that mean?" Now the kid who was put in a position of made fun of because they knew Aang and they knew that story.
He's the cool guy now.
He's the cool guy now. He's the person with relevant conversation. If you don't understand how important and pivotal that is for that person to have that spotlight and have that ode of you're important, you're a leader because of the information that you have, I don't know what to tell you as a human. That's everything. You know what I mean? That's everything. And I feel like every individual person should either have a beacon or be that beacon. If you don't have a beacon within that certain industry, know that there's other people that need that beacon. So be it.
Facts.
I think that's a good place to end this one at. Thank you for being here, taking the time. I know it's early.
Yeah.
We got the phone call.
It's not anymore.
It's on tape. So,
It's all about perspective.
so that's funny. Yeah, thank you again. Once again, Sincerely Collins. Album, Alien, coming out soon. Yeah.
Clap it up, ladies and gentlemen.
This is a great one. And all the lovely people out there, we love you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, listening on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you give us 5 stars and write a review.
And give us that BTE. We need that big thumb energy on the YouTube. All
Energy.
the clips, all of the actual episodes. Don't be afraid to leave a comment, because guess what? We're going to read it. We're going to come for you. All right?
Yeah. And thank you guys. We love you. And don't forget to love yourselves. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Peace.